Hi guys. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for hopping on to this video. The point of it all, honestly, is to just tell you about my story. I think you've either known me for a long time and have seen me go through these things, or you are a new follower to my Instagram, and you see that I really am into healthy eating and working out. But I want to tell you how I came to be that way. And how I have struggled with everything from binge eating, emotional eating, restriction, and just a lack of self-confidence, among so many other things, and how I have overcome all of that, because I think it's really easy to see someone share their story of where they are now, but not necessarily their struggles and how they get there. And I really got into this coaching gig to motivate and inspire other women to help reach their full potential once I saw what it did for me, and how much confidence I was given, and how much community I found, and self-identity, and just how Christ is using me through this platform. That's when I knew I wanted to do coaching, and I wanted to help motivate and show others that they could do it too. So I just want to share my story of how I got there. Thank you for giving me the time to listen this morning. So let's see, from the very beginning, I had zero, I'm talking nada, not a clue about healthy eating or fitness. I wouldn't say I grew up in a bad eating family at all. I think my parents ate very well, but I didn't really understand vegetables. I didn't really understand protein, or we weren't raised really of thinking that kind of way. We were very much like a traditional Southern family with fried foods and sweets and all of that, and that was just not a part of my routine growing up. I was never in shape. I was never the girl who was on the cheer team or the sports teams or tennis or whatever it was, or even from like a leadership perspective, I was never the student council girl. I was never like in all these clubs. I really had no merit growing up. The only thing I tried out and stuck to, was the dance team, and that was pretty much all I knew during high school. Getting into college, I had never really thought about my appearance that much, or my diet, or working out, but I was very quickly, my eyes were just open to this comparison game. Going to a big college, there are so many amazing and gorgeous and beautiful women that I very quickly found myself in this comparison trap, and started seeing all the things that I wanted to work on, or try to be like, and so I remember, for me, that meant I was going to spend an hour doing cardio at the college gym, and I was also going to start eating like the Special K 100-calorie shakes and like protein bars, and that would be it. I remember like we would eat things like pickles and just like all this really weird random low calorie stuff. Had no clue how to fuel our bodies. We were just trying to lose weight, and that didn't work out very well for me, and I ended up going kind of in this total other spiral, where my junior year, I remember the 4th of July, I looked at my body in a swimsuit, and I had been, I was in a sorority, and I had gotten into some partying and some things that I, regret now, but I looked at my body and I was like, wow, I have never gave my body care, and I was so disappointed in myself, and I decided right then and there that things had to change. It was time to change. I didn't feel beautiful. I didn't feel purposeful. I had so much anxiety about this fact that I was like this, and I was like, I've got to start. And so I did. I started on my journey. I had, zero clue. And, I was starting something totally new that no one in my family had really ever gone into. And there was some pressure, and I ended up losing a lot of weight, and actually so much so that I went from the opposite of kind of like binge eating and struggling with emotional eating and not taking care of my body, to the opposite where I was under eating. And because people were giving me compliments about how skinny I looked or that I was losing so much weight, I kept going and kept trying to keep up with this appearance. And y'all, I put all of my self-worth and my identity in that body image. And you know what? It didn't do anything for my self-confidence. It didn't do anything for my self-belief or my self-identity. And I was trying to assure myself that I was, doing all these right things. And but inside I felt lost and I felt lonely, and I was avoiding. At this point, I was at the lowest I'd ever been, but I was also at the lowest with my self-confidence I'd ever been. This was my senior year, and I was just avoiding hanging out with people. I was avoiding staying out with friends or going to the dinners, whatever would get me off track, and it just put me in such an unhealthy spot. And then all of a sudden I graduated. And fast forward into my work life, I went to a big company working in marketing, and I was in 7 or 8 meetings a day. I was totally sedentary. I had no control over my day anymore. I had so much stress weighing on me from trying to get adjusted into this new role, and I started bringing my work home. I started burning the midnight oil, because that's what I saw the people doing. I just totally, and I didn't even realize it, but I just totally threw my health journey out the window. I started staying late. I started bringing my work home. I was sitting all day, every day. I gave up all motivation. I was giving into all of the treats that are so tempting in our workplaces, aren't they? And I just gave up. And I remember, y'all, I remember going home crying from work, because I commuted to work. It was like a 25-30 minute drive. In that first 6 months, I just cried every single day every day that I went home, I would cry. I remember crying my boyfriend. I remember crying, trying to go to the gym. I remember crying myself to sleep. I just remember thinking, this is how the rest of my life is going to be. This is it. This is what I'm going to do. I don't get any time for myself. I'm going to pour my soul into my work. I'm going to go home and I'm going to work some more. I'm going to have no motivation to care about myself or others, and this is just life. And y'all, what an awful and low place that was for me. And at the same time, while all of this is going on, I had started stalking these girls on Instagram. These girls who were in such great shape and were godly and Christianly, and were bringing their faith into their fitness, and were so happy, and they had this community, which was another thing that I kind of lost out of college that I was really, really looking for, and I couldn't find that. I kept trying to share my health and fitness journey with my boyfriend or my family, and I was just I know there are women out there, and I watched these girls do that, and I watched them go on trips together, and have these team calls together, and I was stalking them while I was still desperately struggling and just asking God, what do I do? How do I fix my situation? How do I get past this? And I felt him calling me to just reach out to one of these girls, and it was so silly, y'all, that I was I remember sitting by the pool. It was this summer. I was sitting by the pool with my boyfriend. I was do I message her? What do I say? Am I going to be weird? I remember shaking. I overreacted so much. But I reached out, and y'all, my life has not ever been the same since. So she was the most kind and warming, welcoming person who wanted to get to know me and my goals, and then explained to me what she did, and I got plugged into these accountability groups. But, if you're a type 3 on the Enneagram like myself, I didn't just join the accountability groups. I said, you know what? If I'm going to do this, I'm going to jump in and lead these groups too for other women. And so I was introduced to these groups. I started working out at home for 30 minutes every day, which was another big mental barrier, because up until that point, I had always said, I've got to do an hour. I've got to go to a cycling class. I've got to, spend $150 a month on this fancy boutique gym, and I've got to burn calories. And so when she told me, yeah, we just work out 30 minutes a day, I was like, what? I don't know how to do that. So, when I started following this really flexible meal plan, that was something that I had told my boyfriend I was looking for. I was like, I want something that I can take with me, and that I don't have to skip events anymore, and that I can teach my kids how to eat healthy with one day. And that isn't counting calories, that isn't avoiding carbs, that isn't counting macros. Not to say that any of those things are wrong, but I was like, this is sustainable. And I ended up that first 2 or 3 months losing any of that weight I had put on since college, around 8 or 9 pounds, several inches, and my confidence. I don't even like to talk as much about the physical side because my mental health has 360'd. I look forward to my workouts. I look forward to the friends, like best friends I have made through this in the past 6 months. Just totally transformed my life, and the community that I found, the freedom that I found, bringing God into my journey, and feeling so free of anxiety and trying to control the situation and being unsure and being alone. I can't even explain what this group did to me. It's so much more than I ever expected, and just getting freedom from myself. I mean, my life was transformed, you guys. My lifestyle, my friends, my boyfriend, those first couple months and still to this day, I remember he just kept saying, man, you are so much happier. Like, what has changed inside of you? You are so much happier. You have so much passion and excitement leading these groups for these women. And I was like, yeah, I really am. And y'all, that's a big compliment because I was never that girl. I was never the big encourager. Like I told you, I was never, like leader of cheerleading or student council or whatever other, big executives for my sorority. Like I was just an average girl, and I was never that encourager or that leader like I started to be in these groups. And I just started working on my own journey and bringing other women along for the ride to help them get started on their own too, and help us overcome self-limiting beliefs and realize that we don't have to stay in that awful space that we all so often get. We all think that we are so alone in this journey, and that we're the only ones that feel the way that we do, and we put so much shame on ourselves for struggling with things. And you are not alone. We are all going through it, and I don't know why we try to operate by ourselves. Don't feel shamed. Don't feel discouraged. There is a place for you, and there are women who want to help you, and there is a way to find freedom. And so that is my why. I've never felt more proud of myself. I've never felt more accomplished and capable of the things that I have found through being a part of these accountability groups and being a leader for them too, and helping other women, and just overcoming. It's crazy to think about. I write in a journal. I'm a big journaler, and I'm always writing in my journal and looking back at like my mindset and the things that I was writing about in January and February. I was just so lost, so overwhelmed, so full of anxiety, lonely, just praying for something. And to think that day this summer, it just fell in my lap, and I decided no more, and I decided to reach out, and I decided to change my life. I didn't know at the time I was changing my life, but this thing is bigger than you can ever imagine. And so I'm telling you all of this and sharing my story because I want you to know that this is so much more than just working out and eating healthy. This is about getting over your self-limiting beliefs. This is about growing in your faith, and other women who are so passionate about their faith too, who make you be a better person. That's something I've never experienced, to have a group of friends like that pouring into you. This is about, honestly finding freedom, setting goals, and getting the confidence because you achieve them. It's about dreaming big and taking control of your life. And getting out of that dark place. So my point in all of this is to let you know that no matter what you're going through, there are answers, and there is a way to step out of that place. You do not need to be there alone. I remember it so well, and I wish that I would have reached out to the girl that I heard her story and what she was doing so much sooner, because I feel so silly that I allowed myself to be unhappy for so long. So if that is you, if you relate to this story, girl, just reach out, is all I would ask you to do. Let me pour into you. Let's chat. Let's change your life and figure out, you know, what that looks like for you, what you're struggling with, and how you can find happiness and confidence, and grow in your faith, grow in your fitness and your health. Build friendships, and, you know, even on the not so emotional side, like, honestly, just chat with other women, go on trips with other women, and, you know, also find financial freedom. If you are wanting to be a leader for these groups too, you know, that is a totally another blessing that I will have to talk about at some other point. That was something I never expected out of this. So with that, I hope you all have a great day. Thank you for sticking with me. I love you all, and yeah, bye.